Good Tuesday morning. Check this out, right? Here's Frederick. I mean, not Frederick. We're going to do him next. Here's William Douglas, U.S. Supreme Court Justice. You get 2 from him, right? Where was I? A people who extend civil liberties only to preferred groups start down the path either to a dictatorship of the right or the left. So, and then you have, the struggle is always between the individual and his sacred right to express himself and the power structure that seeks conformity, suppression, and obedience. And then you have Frederick Douglass, and he says, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. So, take that for what you will. It's a beautiful thing. If you're struggling, if you're suffering, if you're going through it, good. Because it will only build you better, stronger, and you will come out of it forged out of the fire. Don't worry about it, you'll be alright. Anyway, Fauci has got to go ouchie. Alright, he's proven to just be a TV, like Bill Nye the Science Guy or Neil deGrasse Tyson type scientist, not really in it for the data or anything, but in it for like the celebrity and, you know what I mean, like the accolades and stuff, you know what I mean, and not really for the science and stuff. So Fauci's got to go ouchie, like the pipsqueak, swallow well, Ossoff, you know, stuff like that. They gotta go. Ain't no time for that shit here. So we're gonna do talking about the COVID vaccine, because people are like tripping out, talking about like all these side effects and stuff, even though almost 2 million people have been getting vaccinated, and like maybe 9 or 10 people, maybe 6 or 10 people have been some kind of thing, and then some of it's like selfish or stuff like that, or just like a rash, or one person fainted, but that could have just been like a white coat syndrome, which I kind of get with the hospital. Is like when you kind of get there, you're kind of heart racing and stuff. It's kind of just self-induced psychosomatic hypochondria, kind of in a way, for lack of a better word, but it's more like when you're just tripping out. It's just a panic attack, pretty much. You know what I mean? For lack of a better word for it. But you just gotta be able to calm down. That's when meditation, silent prayer, and stuff like that comes into place, which is kind of why I usually start, which maybe we should do right now, just for the fun of it, right? We'll just shoo it. So take a minute. Alright, see how it calms you down? It's a beautiful thing. That's why we had the ambiance. Alright, so what to expect after getting COVID vaccine. This is it's supposed to be a really reputable site. It's the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, right? Which is what it is. But they did this December 19th, 2020. COVID-19 vaccination will help protect you from getting the ChiCom19. You may have some side effects, which are normal signs that your body is building protection. These side effects may affect your ability to do daily activities, but they should go away in a few days. Don't worry. Be happy. Feel the animals. Gotta go to the hospital. Get inoculated so we can get back to functioning society. Cause we can't have filthy animals in a polite society. Filthy animals gotta get cleaned up. Inoculation is the way to do it. Come on now, class, let's all do it together. It's kind of like that. On the arm, common side effects are on the arm where you got the shot is pain and swelling. It's just more like induced from like the initial thing from the needle, which is no big deal. Throughout the rest of your body, you might have a fever, chills, tiredness, and headache, and that's just because the thing is, it's actually like what it said, right? You're making your body build immunity and everything, like Osmosis Jones. Remember that movie with John Belushi's brother, Jim Belushi? Kind of good movie. Helpful tips. If you have pain or discomfort, talk to your doctor about taking an over-the-counter medicine such as ibuprofen or an antihistamine such as Benadryl, which I take 2 Benadryls. I'm gone. I'm asleep. It's over. To reduce pain and discomfort where you got the shot, apply a clean, cool, wet washcloth over the area. Use or exercise your arm. Just massage it. Kind of get it going, like you got a little knot stiff on a little Charlie horse. You know, just get it moving. To reduce discomfort from fever, drink plenty of fluids and dress lightly. Okay, just, drink a lot of water. Less sugary stuff. Less soda, because it just makes you more thirsty. It doesn't really do anything. When to call the doctor. In most cases, discomfort from fever or pain is normal. Contact your doctor or healthcare provider. If the redness or tenderness where you got the shot increases after 24 hours, so if you're getting almost like hives, if it's you gotta call the doctor. You gotta go. If your side effects are worrying you, or you don't seem to be going away after a few days, then you might just be tripping and you might just need to do the silent prayer again. And if not, then call your doctor. Remember, side effects may feel like the flu and even your ability to do daily activities, but they should go away in a few days. With most COVID-19 vaccines, you will need 2 shots in order for them to go to work. Get the second shot even if you had side effects after the first shot, unless a vaccination provider or your doctor tells you not to get a second shot. That's why you're always the best advocate for your own health. That's why it's important to know your body. And if you're allergic to shellfish or peanuts or anything like that, and always be honest to your doctors and dentists, because they know when you're bullshitting. And if not, they can probably kill you and you get these side effects like this. It's because people aren't really being that truthful. They just want to hurry up and just, you know what I mean? And it's kind of obvious. It takes time for your body to build protection after any vaccination. COVID-19 vaccinations that require 2 shots may not protect you until a week or 2 after your second shot. That's CDC. Here we got Yahoo Live. CDC issues COVID vaccine warnings for these health conditions. You must understand. The CDC has updated its guidance about the COVID-19 vaccine for people with certain pre-existing medical conditions. Adults with any age with certain underlying medical conditions are at increased risk for severe illness from the virus that causes ChiCom19. The CDC said mRNA COVID vaccines may be administered to people with underlying medical conditions, provided they may have not had a severe allergic reaction to any of the ingredients in the vaccine, which is good to know, if you have allergic to shellfish or etc., etc. mRNA means messenger RNA. mRNA vaccines target messenger cells, which tell certain other cells in the body to perform specific actions. So it gets them boosted. It's like, hey, get to work, It's the middle manager. Tells them what's happening, The COVID vaccine tells us about the antibodies to spike the protein that enables the coronavirus to attach to cells. Read on to see which conditions are mentioned and to ensure your health and the health of others don't miss the signs. You've already had coronavirus. Which most people seem to, if you're under 35 or whatever, probably most asymptomatic, you probably are going to be fine. The CDC issues new guidance for people with HIV, weakened immune systems, and certain autoimmune conditions like GBS and Bell's palsy. People with HIV and weakened immune systems may receive a COVID-19 vaccine. However, they should be aware of the limited safety data, said the CDC. People with HIV, which were included in the clinical trials, but safety data specific to this group are not yet available at the time. The agency said people with autoimmune conditions may receive the mRNA COVID vaccine, but the agency noted that this group of people should also be aware of the lack of safety data, even though people with the autoimmune conditions were included in the critical risk, because it's warp speed. And, HIV people, it's kind of up and down with them too, anyway. During vaccine trials, some people develop Bell's palsy, temporary facial paralysis. The newly issued CDC guidance says the FDA does not consider these to be above the rate expected in the general population, and they have not concluded these cases were caused by vaccination. Therefore, persons who have previously had Bell's palsy may receive a mRNA COVID vaccine. The agency also tells people who have had GBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome, can receive the vaccine, and no cases of GBS were reported from the vaccine. Earlier this month, the CDC said that people with a history of severe allergic reactions can get the vaccine, but they should discuss the risks and benefits with their doctor and be monitored for 30 minutes afterward. That's why I said it's always important to be honest with your doctor. The New York Times reported at least 6 severe allergic reactions have been linked to the Pfizer vaccine. Last weekend, a doctor with a severe shellfish allergy suffered a reaction after getting the Moderna vaccine, but recovered after using his personal auto-injector, which is like the EpiPen. On December 25th, the CDC said that guidance about reactions to the COVID vaccine would be posted to its website starting this week. As of Monday, more than 2.1 million people nationwide have gotten the first dose of COVID vaccine, and more than 11.4 million doses have been distributed. More is coming. More is coming. Don't worry about it. We will all be okay. We're gonna get through this. Alright? Stay positive. As for yourself, do everything you can to prevent getting and spreading COVID-19 in the first place. Wear a face mask, get tested if you think you have the coronavirus, avoid crowds in bars and house parties, practice social distancing, only run essential errands, wash your hands and face regularly, disinfect frequently, touch surfaces, get vaccinated when it's available to you. And to get through this pandemic at your healthiest, don't miss these places where you're most likely to get it, which is probably just places that, it's fun and they don't want you to have fun because they're kind of the fun police nowadays. We have it from here from STAT, right? Because I want you to be well-rounded and, not just get one side or this side or whatever. Just going to get all of it, right? The whole story, and then you guys develop whatever you guys want to do and make your own decisions because I'm not your parents. Or Fauci, I'm not going to teach you like a kid. I'm just giving you the facts. You do it. So here's the stats. Beware of the danger of vaccine-euphoria. The advent of COVID-19 vaccines is a medical miracle, yet it also is a tantalizing and dangerous psychological milestone. It's not that the beginning of the end of the pandemic, but more likely the end of the beginning, to borrow a phrase from Winston Churchill. Oh, okay, and just like, let me say something to steal something from Ilhan Omar, with the national thing, just because somebody went and did something, then we gotta lose our civil liberties. How's that fair? How's that happening? That's not cool. And Milton Friedman said that if we put the government in charge of the Sahara Desert, there would be a shortage of sand. So, the first day of distribution of vaccine in the United States illustrated at the point of California accepted its initial delivery of 33,150 doses, just as it is beginning to average more than that number of new corona cases every day. Such realities, though grim, have been easy to overlook. Exuberant headlines about vaccines, now 2 million more doses, have grabbed attention, as have rightfully, joyous social media photos of healthcare workers receiving their inoculations. Oh yeah, inoculated. Get it for the filthy animal. Inoculation. It's the healing of a nation. It's a banger. Alright, so let me get some of this hot chocolate. This cold, dark winter. We get so kind of blinded by a vaccine euphoria, the light at the end of the tunnel, that we underestimate how long the tunnel is and how dangerous that tunnel is. It's so treacherous, said Peter Sands, executive director of the Swiss-based Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria, which has expanded its mission to combat COVID. For most of the countries the fund invests in, Sands added at a recent health summit hosted by Milken Institute, vaccines are not going to be available at scale until late 21 at the earliest, and a lot of lives are going to be lost in that time in between, which is sad, unfortunate, but most people die every day. It's a struggle of life. When people die, new people are born. It's how the world keeps spinning on its axis, right? That's what I heard in The Simpsons. So hand washing, wearing masks, social distancing, and experts warn a healthy new dose of cognitive dissonance will continue to be the daily reality for most of us for months to come, unless we all start talking to each other and start saying, hey, what are you talking about? Come on, wake up, people. Let's be real here. Stop being Karens or whatever. Stop doing all that kind of shit. Stop bossing people around. Stop being the hall monitor, and let people just live and die if they want to do that. Okay, so that's their liberty. That's what liberty is. The question is whether Americans will get too caught up in the enthusiasm over what they perceive to be elixirs nearly at the hand. Perhaps they might wonder, can't they let their guard down just a little? Can I not go to the bathroom and not wash my hands and then make some food and get E. coli? I like Chipotle, but people still go there, so it's the difference. People get bit by sharks and drown at the beach in the pools, and people still do that. It's the difference. William Hallman, a psychologist at Rutgers University and an expert in the study of the perception at risk, noted that the statistical risk of any given activity matters far less than what you think the risk is. So, from a risk perception standpoint, he said, there is a potential danger that people will now get vaccinated and think they are superhuman and nothing can touch them, which is certainly not true. So, this is not crack, dude. This is not dope, people. Just, alright, still be realistic here. There's no buzz, there's none of that, alright? It's just medicine. It's like CBD. It's like THC without the weed, right? It's the same thing. Holman, who chairs the Department of Human Ecology at Rutgers, said that one of his frustrations as a psychologist is that the national messaging about the pandemic has been led most vocally and perhaps understandably by physicians and epidemiologists. Say that 5 times fast. And they're focused on their germ and what to do about it. By contrast, he said there have been very few social scientists, behavioral scientists, in helping with the government determine how to change people's behaviors. You know, stop being such filthy animals and stuff and having such bad yards and going to places with your clothes on, they're not showering for days and weeks and not washing your butt and your hands and your ass and, you know, shit showering and shaving every morning. And come on. Same thing, come on. As a result, he fully expects more public conflicts to play out sooner or later. If I get vaccinated and I decide I don't need to wear a mask anymore and can go to the grocery store, what's the proper response from the grocery store manager? I don't think there ever is a real proper response. It's just a response. Holman said his proposed message to public officials said, "Be brutally clear. This is what we know. This is how we know it. There are still some things we don't know. Here's what's important. Here's what we're going to do, becoming a lot more certain about it. Here's what we think you should know and do now." There's also the matter of how long it's going to take to distribute enough vaccines for all those who want it. Many potential impediments remain in getting the vaccine from pharmaceutical laboratories and warehouses into the biceps of Americans, starting with the challenges of mass production. There's an old saying, the hardest part of making vaccines is making vaccines, said Paul Offit, a professor of pediatrics at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and a member of the Food and Drug Administration's Vaccine Advisory Committee. He noted the storage and shipment requirements for the only vaccines authorized so far are cumbersome, particularly for the vaccine developed by Pfizer and its partners BioNTech that could make distribution more difficult, even as supply expands. Both require 2 doses for full effect. Itself a logistical and messaging challenge, and getting those vaccinated to complete the full course. Because once, kind of like, but there will be spurious safety questions. My grandmother got the vaccine, and 2 days later she had a stroke or a heart attack, and so the virus causes strokes and heart attacks. You're going to be dealing with all of that, and with all of the misinformation put out there by the anti-vaccine movement, because you can appeal, apparently, to people's sense of conspiracy, and there are microchips in the vaccine, and the vaccine causes COVID, and no vaccine is 100% effective, and some people inoculated will still get COVID, just like the flu vaccine, right? Nothing in this world is 100% guaranteed, or that's just a fact. Samantha Penta, an assistant professor of emergency preparedness at SUNY Albany, noted that there is always some segment of the population unable to tolerate vaccines because of allergies or because they are immunocompromised. Taken together, such caveats guarantee that just because a vaccine is out doesn't mean that a sufficient portion of the country is protected to mean that the viruses are still not spreading. It's a numbers game. So far, any serious side effects of inoculation have been comparatively isolated and easily managed, but the vaccines have yet to be tested on children or those who are pregnant or lactating, for example, which is probably important. It's important for people to keep in mind that while the vaccine is a great step and great progress toward a future in which we don't have to worry about COVID, it's really hundreds or thousands of little steps that we're going to take a much long time. It's going to take all of us, and that's why we all have to stay prepared. Much of the next few months for a lot of people are going to look and feel very similar to the last few months. It's just how it is. That's what the tunnel's like. And so you see the light. Robert Marshall, a cardiologist in Washington, D.C., said healthcare workers remain exquisitely sensitive about maintaining vigilance and not letting their guard down at this point, and that the doctors and the public alike should use the vaccine as motivation to go strong and beat COVID fatigue. As interventional cardiologists, we have to continue to assume every patient is potentially infectious regardless of whether they have the symptoms. This is especially true with heart attack victims, given it is a known consequences of COVID. Many of these patients need an immediate procedure, and there is no time for the PCR test, and in most cases, not even a rapid test to be in the back in time before rushing off to the cardiac catheterization lab. We therefore don the full protective gear, not only to protect ourselves, but for those we may come in contact with, who may be more vulnerable. We will not change this approach anytime soon, and the same case should be made to the public. For his part, Offit said, First part, office said he would never have predicted that the vaccines could be developed so quickly, which explains all the emails I got after I said I wouldn't be nearly ready to nearly this soon, which is good. Often, as a vaccine expert, I can't wait to get it. And as an infectious disease specialist, he does round on implementations, some of whom are in the COVID ward. As such, he wasn't a first-tier worker, but imagines he'll be getting the vaccine next week just after Christmas. So, there is hope, people, right? And don't worry just because some people got it and developed it. It's just like, some people drink alcohol and they have a high tolerance, and some people don't. It's the same kind of stuff. That's why everybody's chemical balance is different. Boston doctor reports serious allergic reaction after getting Moderna's COVID. A Boston physician said he developed a sort of allergic reaction minutes after receiving Moderna's COVID vaccine on Thursday in the first week of the nationwide rollout for the company's shots. The case was the first of its kind reported linked to Moderna's vaccine. Federal agencies are investigating at least 6 cases involving people who suffered anaphylaxis after receiving the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, which contains similar ingredients during the first few weeks of distribution in the United States, which is the shellfish stuff. That's why it's important to know if you're allergic to shellfish, peanuts, or any other thing like that. I took Depakote one time they gave me Depakote because I was I was a teenager, and it lowered my weight. It was making me anemic, and I had to take it off. That's why getting tested all the time is kind of really important. All right, so that's just okay. And I hope you guys have a good New Year. Everything else, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. I love you guys. Spread love everywhere.